Morning, everybody. This is Travis Montgomery, giving you another update from the Agorah with the Spartans of Appalachia. So, I'm sure you've all seen by now, past few days with the riots that have broken out in LA. Quick timeline of that, just so you have the information. Started out as some peaceful riots. No, riots are not the right word. Peaceful protests by a lot of people who didn't like the fact that guys were coming into their places of work, coming into their homes, coming into their courthouses, and just taking people off the street. You know, the guys in the masks. No, not those. Those guys. That's right. You know, it's kind of hard not to blame them for that, considering that if a bunch of people just rolled up in an SUV, jumped out, and with masks on, and just started trying to abduct me or someone I knew, or even a random stranger off the street, that I might not act the same way, considering that they don't identify themselves, they don't show any kind of warrant, they don't show any kind of official documentation, no shields, no medals, nothing. So anyways, that broke down after about a day or so. It was under control, according to the actual local police there, who have significant riot training. But then our president decided to send in the National Guard without a request from the governor or anybody. He just unilaterally decided to do it, which is something that has not been done since if I'm not mistaken, since the riots back in the 60s with the civil rights riots. This, of course, inflamed tensions and made things worse. And so the situation has devolved since. Now we're at the point where the Marines have recently been activated, and the governor of California is going to be filing a lawsuit against the president and his administration to try and take away what powers they say they have to do this. But in my opinion, I think that this is all just something that they were looking for, and they were waiting for this to happen eventually. You'll notice that it's mostly major cities, especially major cities in blue states, that are being hit by these ICE raids like this so much. It's not a coincidence. It's not just something that could happen. It's designed that way. They want this to happen, in my opinion. Back during President Obama's tenure, there were lots of deportations, immigration deportations, far more than there have been with this presidency so far, and even with the prior two. But you never saw things like this happen. There's a reason for that. In my opinion, it's because one guy knew how to actually do the job, and the other one just wants to be a dictator. Straight up. Keep your eye on that. That's a dangerous thing. I'm personally just waiting for the next day when they finally declare martial law or something like that. It's dark times, people. Dark times. Moving on. RFK Nutbag Brainworm Jr. Decided that he was going to unilaterally fire every member of the CDC Vaccine Council, which I think is about 17 people or so. Yeah, 17 people. He's just going to clean sweep them, get rid of all of them, because he says this will help give people better reasons to trust the new council after he has handpicked every one of them. Because, you know, the guy with the brainworm in his head, the one that swims in creeks filled with poop and E. coli, the one that is spreading vaccine disinformation and conspiracy theories, you know, for the past 30-some years, the one that says that he actually studied better when he was doing heroin and drugs back in college, because he's the guy we should trust with our health information and with our health decisions and choices. So yeah, look for the vaccine information and the vaccine suggestions and schedules to start changing over the next year or so, due to supposed updated data or whatever. Personally, I'm just going to keep going by the old schedules back before guys with brainworms weren't trying to tell us what to do. I think that's a wise choice. The House Reconciliation Bill is moving its way slowly through the Senate. I am confident that they'll get something through that looks kind of like what the House made. They're trying to argue about Medicaid cuts, Medicare cuts, and spending deficits and all this other stuff. They're trying to come up with all kinds of ideas and ways to make it look like it's okay. But let's face it, people. These guys, they want to cut your health care. The Medicaid cuts alone, about $800 billion. I don't care what they say; they're lying to you. Those cuts will impact services. Most of those will be felt in rural areas like ours. And Harold Rogers, our representative, yeah, he voted happily for those cuts. He wants you guys to lose access to health care, because what's going to happen is when those cuts come into effect, they will also eventually force automatic cuts to Medicare. That's actually baked into all of this legislation and laws and rules. And so there will just be a massive cut to Medicaid. There'll be a massive cut to Medicare. And regardless of whether or not you even have Medicaid or Medicare, maybe you have private insurance, what will happen is that a lot of these hospitals, a lot of these clinics, a lot of these nursing homes that rely on Medicare and Medicaid to help keep the doors open, they will start to close. They will start to shutter services because they will no longer be able to support themselves. And when that happens, that affects everybody. It doesn't matter what your insurance is, because if the place isn't open, then you can't be seen. So healthcare will suffer across rural America, especially eastern Kentucky. And credit where credit is due, Rand Paul's actually against all this stuff. I think he's against it not for the healthcare reasons. I think he's against it because this bill is going to massively raise the deficit by several $trillion. But these guys don't care. I mean, can we finally put this to bed, people? This trickle-down economics crap? I mean, these guys have been pushing this since Reagan. That was back in the 80s. It's been 40-some years, 50 years. Can we finally say that this ain't working? That maybe these people have ulterior motives? Because ever since then, they've also been cutting their taxes. Because all these guys are rich. Rich as thieves. Thick as thieves, rich as hell, whatever. And all they do when they're in office, they try to cut their taxes and they spend on anything that they think is important. They don't care about the budget. Regardless of what they say, and regardless of what some of them try to act like, that they're just going to vote for the budget, they don't care about anything else, they end up voting the party line. So this is why I keep saying we need more people like us in power, because these guys, Democrats or Republicans, honestly, I mean, it's not like Democrats have been all that much better. Some of them have, sure, but in the grand scheme, the deficit keeps going up. It does do better with Democrats, don't get me wrong, but Lord, we need something new. In case you hadn't seen, the last few days also Trump and Elon Musk had a fallout. It was a big fight over this budget, and Elon got kind of pushed out, and for a moment, for like a day or so, people were going back and forth, like, who's going to win in this fight between Elon Musk and Trump? And apparently Trump has quickly pushed him to the side. Musk has capitulated because regardless of all his bluster about decommissioning the Dragon capsule rockets and all this other stuff, all of his money's tied up in this. And that's what all the guy really worries about. And this proves it. If he actually had any kind of moral character, any kind of moral clarity, he would have stuck to his guns and been like, screw you, I'm just going to cut everything and I'm going to go somewhere where they want me. But no, he wants his money and he wants to keep that around. So he quickly capitulated and just shut up. And then we had the riots that happened, which helped kind of cover all this up. And last thing, tariff revenue has soared up to 78%. So the question is, who's paying all that? Well, that's us. If the federal government has raked in a bunch of money from tariffs, it's because that those tariffs are being paid by American importers, and those American importers are pushing those costs to people like you and me. So where's the money coming from? It's us. It's our pockets. That's where the money's coming from. Could this money go to help reduce the federal debt? I mean, it could. I don't think it will. I think that they'll help it to push and further justify their tax cuts. So I think what will happen is we'll be spending more for less, and the rich will get bigger and bigger tax cuts under Republican administrations, and things just get worse and worse. That's what I think. Prove me wrong. I haven't seen anything to the contrary yet. I've seen a lot of bluster. I've seen these people say a lot of things, but usually what they say and what they actually do are totally different things. And it doesn't take much to see that if you go digging for it. So that is the big update today from the Agorah. Last thing, there will be a nationwide protests and rallies going on this Saturday, the No Kings protest. Assuming that we're not in martial law before then, and we have to do something different. So be ready for that. There's going to be one happening in Moorhead, Kentucky, just across the road from the Wendy's. I think I'm going to be there with some friends. We're going to try to have a good time between about 12 and 2 or so. And we're going to try to let our voices be heard and say what we think about this crazy crap that's going on. So I hope to either see you all there or hear a horn honk when you drive by. But anyway, good luck to you guys. Stay strong. This is Spartan of Appalachia, and I'm out.